Hayes.
Madam Nouy, welcome once again to ECON, and thank you very much for your presentation. We had a discussion by the European Banking Authority last month, which highlighted the issue of NPLs, which you spoke about in your remarks to the committee today. And on that occasion, Mr. Enria said that of the 13 member states of the European Union still have non-performing loans of over 5%, 8 of those within Eurozone countries. And I welcome the fact that the ECB have recently launched a public consultation on guidance to banks, which is in terms of dealing with non-performance. We all welcome that. Just in relation to my own country, in Ireland's case, the non-performing loan ratio is about 14%, which is far too high, although it's come down from about 19%, and there has been some improvements, particularly on the commercial side, less so on the retail mortgage side. But there's a significant issue for the banks there. Can I ask you, from a regulatory perspective, what advice would you give Irish policymakers and the regulatory system in Ireland in how we might resolve the outstanding issues on the NPLs, especially for those loans of a greater duration than 2 years? I'd be interested for your views on that. And you spoke earlier about structural obstacles. From your perspective, what's the priority one issue that we need to deal with in trying to resolve these outstanding issues? And then finally, on Basel, which is a matter of considerable discussion in this committee, as I'm sure you know, I think the concern is that we will end up with some blunt instrument from a regulatory perspective in dealing with the issues on banks' internal models or indeed on the risk weights. And from your perspective, what would be a good outcome in getting that balance right and making sure that we have confidence and transparency for the banking system, but equally an appreciation of the risks that are there? And finally, how might that outcome affect the stress tests, which are such an important part of the new banking regime now? Thank you very much.
Chair. Regarding the situation of Irish banks on the island for non-performing exposures, I have a lot of respect for the work that has been done by our colleagues to address the issue. And as a matter of fact, the person which is leading our work is Sharon Donnery from Ireland, Deputy Governor in the Central Bank, precisely because Ireland had found a good solution, has made good progress, and we are moving forward in the same direction with the other countries. You mentioned EBA in this work. Indeed, we work in close cooperation with EBA. The EBA is represented in the working group that is shared by Sharon Donnery, and that's very good. We have produced recently 2 pieces of work, and in particular, you asked the question, the guidance that could be given to legislators. We have this stocktake exercise where 8 countries are scrutinized for their situation regarding the legislative framework, regarding the possible impediments to the creation of asset management companies or other kind of issues that are generally addressed in legislative, in pieces of legislation. 7 countries are countries with high level of non-performing exposure. 1 country has not this high level, but the other ones will come. We will produce the stocktake for the 19 countries. What we see there is that, first of all, we need good bankruptcy rules. And I put a lot of hope myself in the European work regarding bankruptcy for corporates that is needed for capital market union. And that will have a benefit beyond the capital market union, also for the corporates, for investors that might be interested in investing in non-performing exposures, that they need to understand what is the legal treatment. Otherwise, they are not interested, or the value they give for the non-performing exposures is not good enough. So we need laws at European and at national level, and we need courts, judges to implement those laws. It maybe need, there are all kinds of non-performing exposure, corporates, SMEs, individuals. For SMEs, for individuals, fast-track solution in court are important, specialized judges. And also out-of-court solutions could be important as well. And this is taking place. Most of the countries facing the issue are moving in this right direction. And for us, we start, like Ireland has started, with the guidance, qualitative guidance on addressing the issue. We have another phase in parallel, which is the joint supervisory team having supervisory dialogue with the bank they supervise for making sure that the banks move in the right direction as fast as they can. Not all the banks are able to move fast. We are ambitious and realistic. And it has to take into account the situation of the bank and the situation of the legislative framework in the country. Regarding the risk-weighted assets that will come out of the reform of Basel, what would be a good outcome? I would say, first of all, to comply with the mandate that was delivered by the reporting body for the Basel Committee, which is no significant increase in capital, but corrections for outliers. That's the first expectation, and I would add to deliver a good standardized approach, which is both simple but still risk sensitive, and also if there are output floors, for example, that will be based on the standardized approach, it is key that the standardized approach is a good one. It may also push certain banks that maybe cannot afford to spend a lot of money in building models, maintaining models, to go to this simple but risk-sensitive standardized approach.